Hello. Have you ever said you were going to do something, and then when the time came to do it, you wish you wouldn't have said that you were going to do it? Well, I'm not quite that far, but I'm pretty close to it. And doing this review for Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Before I went to go see this movie, as I mentioned yesterday, this was a very polarizing movie from what I read. Some of the reviews said it was a great movie. Some people said it was a disappointment, and I know there were some magazines I know Weekly gave it like a C. So I went into this movie not knowing what to expect. My expectations with all Star Wars movies are relatively high because it's Star Wars, right? And I tell you, it was disappointing. I gotta tell you, the more I even think about some of the things that happened within the movie, it's disappointing because I went in there and I wanted to be entertained. This is the last movie of the three trilogies that make up the Star Wars saga, and I really wanted it to be better than it was. I think that coming out of this movie, people are going to have drinking games for whenever someone not says but yells the name Ray. How many times that happens in the movie? You'll see what I mean when you go see the movie. And you're going to go see the movie. I mean, you've invested. The first movie came out in 1977. So think about all the years that you've invested in watching these stories, either in the theater or in reruns and over again. Of course, you're going to see the movie. And maybe you can compare notes. You can put your comments in on this video. But I tell you, it was disappointing. Special effects were there, but the special effects were nothing you hadn't seen before. So, I mean, it felt like a retread of everything that happened before. And you might say, well, that's how you bring some to conclusion. But I remember at the beginning of this year, we had Avengers Endgame, and they did a good job of bringing in all the history of the films that preceded it without, at the same time, adding new wrinkles to it that made it a successful conclusion to that saga. Well, that didn't happen here. And, it's kind of funny because the lady who was sitting right next to me, when we first got there, we were sitting there, and she was just real chatty with her friend. Chatty, chat, chat, chat. And just to go to show you how this movie was, at some point in the movie, I started hearing this weird sound, and I thought, okay, this is a Dolby theater and so forth, so you're going to hear some different sounds and so forth. But it didn't make sense in the movie. Well, I look over, and this chatty lady who was sitting next to me is snoring up a storm. I mean, she is out cold. And just to go to show you how people feel about Star Wars, because we want it to be good. We want it to be a successful end to the story. She kind of gets jarred at the very end and kind of wakes up. And then as soon as the credits start rolling, she's clapping. And I'm like, what are you clapping about? You clapping because you had a good nap? But anyway, as far as a success tip, well, there's nothing after the movie, after the credits, so there's no reason to stay for after the credits except for to see the credits, which are, so many people put so much good work in the making. Again, it's disappointing that it wasn't a better movie. There may be some people who disagree with me, but I believe that if you disagree with what I'm saying, number one, give it some time to really sink in. And then number two, think about the bias that you kind of went in there with. The bias being, I want this movie to be good, If you get rid of that and you look at it as a standalone movie, I think you'll share my disappointment. In terms of the success tip is an age-old one. It's number one, your past does not equal your future. And number two, at any point, you can determine that you're going to create the identity you want to have going forward for the life that you want to have. So that's the success tip that came from the movie, in my opinion. And again, I know you're going to go out and see the movie anyway. I'm not here to dissuade you from doing so. I just wanted to give you my tips on it. So, as always, we're coming up into the holiday season. Next week is Christmas. So, if you want to know, a lot of people go to the theaters on Christmas. What are my top 5 movies that you should see during the Christmas time right now that are at the multiplex? Go ahead and send me a private message. I will send you my top 5 right now. As you know, I do these from time to time, and they always change because new movies come out. So send me a request privately, and I will send you my top 5 movies that you should see at the multiplex this week as you go into Christmas week. That's about it. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed Star Wars better than I did. I really do. And if you do, come back here, make your comments below. I really love to hear what you have to say about it. But in terms of the 5 movies, send me an instant message. I will respond back to you, the 5 movies, the best movies at the multiplex right now. That being said, have a great day. And if I don't talk to you before then, Merry Christmas.